Welcome to the Chase Down Podcast, part of the Cavs media family. I'm your host, Justin Rowan. The Chase Down is presented by Fubo, the official streaming partner of the Cavs. Watch over 350 channels of live sports and TV, including FanDuel Sports Network, without cable. There's no cost and no commitment. Try for free at FuboTV.com/Cavs. Well, unfortunately, some of the offensive woes from the fourth quarter of Game 1 carried over to Game 2 as the Cavs were not able to generate offense consistently enough to hang with the New York Knicks and are now in an 0-2 hole. Joining me today is my co-host, Carter Rodriguez. Carter, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay. That was a tough loss. I think that loss was kind of that's why you can't lose game one loss.
Yes.
Where your shot making just fell off a cliff. Their shot making was pretty phenomenal. Josh Hart goes 5 of 11 from 3. As you get it to 10, OG hits kind of a semi out of rhythm pull up, or I'm sorry, catch and shoot 3, and you have Sam Merrill go 0 of 7 and split his free throw attempts. You missed 10 free throws, several pairs in the fourth quarter as you're trying to get closer, and it's a disappointing outcome for sure. For the bench to go a combined 1 of, I think it's 15 from 3. It's just not enough to win. And then defensively, I thought they did better than they did in the fourth last game, but not over the life of the game. But I thought they were as limited in the fourth of this game in terms of their ability to get stops as they were in game 1.
Yeah, it's overall giving up 109 points to the New York Knicks. You can live with that, right? I think that is a normal amount of points for them to score. It wasn't out of this world. They weren't necessarily having their way with the Cavs, but there definitely were stretches where the Cavs were struggling to get stops and they were struggling to get New York out of their rhythm. So it's one of those games where on the aggregate, yes, it was fine, but I definitely felt like there were times where what we were doing defensively was playing into the Knicks' hands. And we should definitely start with Josh Hart, who had a career high in terms of playoff points and was just phenomenal for them. Not only did he have the career high in points, he also had 7 assists. And I think this is one of those spots where
the Cavs had 15 assists.
Yes. I think this is one of those spots where it comes down to kind of basketball philosophy, right? Because it obviously the conversation last 2 days, everything was focused on the collapse, right? The Cavs giving up that many points, what decisions could have been made, what decisions were made that shouldn't have been made, and things like that. And you do get things like the shot quality data, right? I think we've seen both Kenny talk about what they have internally. We have smart people that have pulled up their own data and said basically the same thing, that the Knicks were hitting a lot of tough shots. And I think this is just one of those spots from a philosophical standpoint where that may be true, but I always feel like there's a human element, right? I used to talk about this all the time when it came to the Houston Rockets missing those 22 three-point shots in a row. And the conversation after was, well, it was bad shot luck. No, there is a human element to this. Not every shot is, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. And down the stretch of that game, there were definitely times where the Cavs did not make them feel uncomfortable. I would say that was the majority of those possessions, even if they were in position to contest the shots. And I think the same thing is true of Josh Hart, where I think there is a fine line between we are going to cheat off of somebody, and that's going to give us some advantages defensively on other areas of the court, and flat out ignoring someone that, one, did not shoot that poorly from 3 this season. He shot 41%, even though, it's modest volume. And 2, is also someone that they do run a good amount of offense through. And this went back to the Toronto series where you're cheating off of Scotty Barnes, and that's fine, but you're also giving a primary playmaker and someone that's a fulcrum of their offense a head start in a lot of situations. So I think the Cavs need to calibrate what the right balance is between we're going to cheat off of Josh Hart, and that's going to help us in defending Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson in other ways. And we're just going to leave someone that is a key cog in their offense free to work however he wants to work.
I think it belies a wider disappointment I've had with this team defensively, really across this era, Justin, which is that I feel like over and over and over again, and this is not a Harden thing or a Kenny thing, because it's kind of crossed eras at this point, it's cross personnel, is it just kind of feels like when a team starts really poking at the deficiencies in this Cavs roster defensively, they decide to like operate in these very like, trying to find the right way to put it. They don't operate in the no, they don't operate in the gray. Like
Right.
like they're like, they go from, all right, we're gonna switch everything, that's our strategy, to we're gonna be in a deep drop, that's our strategy. Or they go to we're going to kind of put two on the ball, that's our strategy. But like, I feel like what this series demands is that you ask the Cavs to process a little faster defensively. Like, yeah, you can't like it's like, we don't want to hard commit because then we'll have two on the ball really, really aggressively at the point of the screen, because then we'll have to get into deep rotation. It's like, well, yeah, you do. You're gonna have to do some hard things defensively to win this series, and it just kind of feels like they're kind of ceding to this kind of middle ground where it's like, well, if this is the scheme, we can't mess it up. But it's like, if the scheme is either resulting in soft switches for Jalen Brunson on our most suspect defenders, or easy pocket passes at the top of the arc for Josh Hart over and over and over again, for like, floaters me or you could hit, it just kind of feels like they're gonna have to commit to a scheme that asks a little bit more of everyone involved on the floor, all five of them. Because I even remember this happening with Laurie. It was like, all right, we're switching everything with Laurie. And now Trae Young's killing Laurie in the second half. What are we gonna do? It's like, yeah, you're gonna have to like hard hedge, fight over things. Like, look at how much effort that Brunson's having to expend to not get switched on every single time, and the way that they're loading up on the strong side and providing help. And when the ball is reversed, they're working so hard to get back to these shooters. And the Cavs are getting some open shots, but it's not low effort shots. Yeah. And I do think that's the biggest difference between, where I think the shot quality stuff can fail us is, like, I just don't think Mikal Bridges had to work hard for that corner three. He didn't have to run anything. He was able to catch the ball, line up the laces, and shoot a three, whereas Sam is having to relocate and catch and shoot. And yeah, that's a shot Sam makes a lot. And like, this is a shot making league and a shot making game. But like, I do think just most fourth quarter offensive possessions for New York did not require them to operate with a lot of force.
Yeah.
And that is a challenge.
And the thing is, too, like, I don't want to spend a ton of time on the defense because that's not where they lost this game, right? They definitely lost this game on the offensive end of the floor. But I do think that there are, obviously, you're down 0-2. There are things that the Cavs need to improve on and can, pick away at on every aspect of the game, right? Like, you're never down 0-2 because you've played one side of the floor flawlessly or anything like that. But I do think, how they were approaching Josh Hart, I thought was problematic, right? Like, it's not just the make or miss. I just think it's such an extreme.
And sorry to interrupt, but like, I feel like it degraded over the course of the game.
Yeah,
as he made more shots. It was like, I felt like in the first quarter, it was like, all right, they're daring him to beat him, but like there's still like closeouts, and they're within 10 feet of him.
Right,
It
like
kind of just there was a degradation in how they were guarding him, and as he made more shots, the coverage got worse.
that is 100% true, because if you go back and you watch that first quarter, they would bring Josh Hart to screen for Jalen Brunson, right? Understanding that Jaron Allen is covering Josh Hart, and Allen would cheat in those situations, right? Like Wade did a good job in the first half of fighting through the screens. We were conceding switches in a lot of situations, but we did try to keep the primary defender on Brunson when
Yeah,
it was Wade.
he was getting the switch with 8 seconds left a little bit
Right.
more often.
Right. And Allen would show, and he would double in those situations. They would pressure Jalen Brunson with Wade and Allen, or if it's Allen and let's say Harden got on to Brunson because they weren't able to prevent the switch in that spot. Allen would cheat off of Hart, but he would also kind of recover, right? Like just a show and recover in those situations. At least some pressure there. That's not how it was approached for the remainder of the game. And I believe it was in the third quarter where we got Max Strus on Karl Anthony Towns and Evan Mobley on Josh Hart, and Max is playing the 4 in that situation. To me, that's doing a little bit too much, right? Like I would rather keep Evan on Karl Anthony Towns, because when Evan's been on Cat, it makes him way less comfortable. They can't run offense through him in the same way. If you're going to have Max on Josh Hart and have Max kind of cheat and help on some drives, and then provide a late closeout, that's one thing. I'm fine with that. But allowing Cat to get those open, not only does he have a size advantage over Max Strus as a scorer, he's also, when he gets the ball, he is able to survey the floor without seeing somebody in front of him for the most part. I thought those were the areas where, on a night where they didn't lose because of their defense, I thought that the defense made it too easy for the Knicks offense to get comfortable. And the other area I want to highlight is they only lost to Schroeder minutes by 1. But I really don't feel great about how the 3-guard lineup feels with Dennis out there when they are going small, right? Like on the game, it was 16 total minutes. They had a 129 defensive rating in those Schroeder minutes. Like, that's tough, man. And I just don't feel like there is any force at the point of attack. Like the most used lineup in that group is Donovan Mitchell, Dennis Schroeder, Max Strus, Sam Merrill, and Evan Mobley. Like, you are asking a lot of that group, and that one had a 144 defensive rating.
I do believe that's
together.
their third most played lineup in the postseason so far.
Right. So
and it's not been going well going in.
No, it was a -30 net rating on the season. It was a -23 net rating on this game, and a 144 defensive rating. I don't think that this is the series for it. I don't. I think that this is a really tough spot for Dennis, and I think I would be just going heavier with Jalen Tyson. I even trying Keon Ellis, because I feel like they've done a good enough job generating offense with other guys that I don't think Dennis's ball handling is that necessary, particularly when he's struggling to score to the extent that he has been.
Yeah, I just don't know what it's doing for you. Like anytime you downshift, you better have a good reason why, and like what it's going to open up for you. Whether you're going to get in transition better, nope. Are you going to shoot better? Nope. Are you going to be switchier? Nope. I just don't think that lineup's working. I'm with you. Man, it does just kind of feel like so much of like we've spent so much time talking about what the Cavs need to be and how they need to shape their roster, and like as much as like I want to poke at the Dennis stuff, but I also just want to poke at when the Knicks are playing their best lineup, we can't hang right now, and like. Mm-hmm. And like that's pretty disheartening, Like, yeah, you can definitely look at the role guys not playing great, and sure, I'm sure Sam is apoplectic after going 0 of 7 from 3, and having Sam and Jalen are two best shooters, just to, not be able to hit the broadside of the barn. Our best shooters from the regular season. I mean, sorry. Like, yeah, that sucks, but like I think it's maybe a little more disheartening that when there's 5 minutes left in the game, down 10, it's like, man, we're not going to be able to get stops, and we're not going to get good looks on the other end right now. And when our
Right.
core lineups are not generating good offense under duress, it just gets hard really fast.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. And I really did think that the Cavs had a great floor game in the first half.
Yeah,
Like
me too.
one
I
of the
felt good at
things,
half, and my friends who don't care about the Cavs were texting me, being like, "I feel like you should feel pretty good about that first half."
and the one thing you can always bank on is the Knicks don't do a great job of defending the 3-point line, right? Like they gave up a ton of open looks. The Cavs just fell into the trend of their postseason, right? We talked about it coming in that the Knicks would concede all these wide open 3-point shots and opponents were shooting 31%. This would have been a much closer game if the Cavs were shooting 31% from three, right? Like they got open looks, and it's not like, hey, we're funneling open looks and it's getting to Dennis Schroeder, and the Knicks are going to live with that. It's wide open looks for Sam Merrill. Donovan got good looks. James got good looks, right? Max got good looks. They just weren't able to convert it. And maybe that's tired legs. Maybe it's the fact, maybe it's the reality that we haven't been a very good shooting team to begin with, since the All-Star break.
There's several
And
postseasons in a row of this as well. If we're really calling a spade a
that's the
spade,
other
and I
part of
don't
it.
know what to do about that. Like, you get
Yeah.
good shooting personnel, you get stars that are supposed to get the defense into rotation. You've got bigs who are doing their jobs, like Jared and Evan have done their jobs in this series.
Yeah.
And
I mean, look how much focus there was on the hustle stats and things like that we've talked about in the past. Like this was another game, like Cavs 13-5 advantage on offensive rebounds, right? Like, and they won the offensive rebound battle in the other game. So that's the tricky thing, is like when a team is tired, you assume it's going to manifest in they're not getting the hustle plays, they're not getting the offensive rebounds, they're not getting second chance opportunities. The Cavs, I feel like they're playing their asses off out there. Like I think the effort's where it needs to be. They just aren't able to convert. And the elephant in the room we haven't talked about yet is that Donovan Mitchell doesn't look like he has burst like
no,
at all with that ankle. And there's the reason I didn't talk about him.
3 total assists for him and Harden.
It was the reason I didn't talk about him post game, right after game one, because I wasn't sure what the status was, and I kind of felt like something was going on, but in real time it was tough to get a feel for it. Normally I'd say, okay, like why wasn't there more assertiveness down the stretch? I would like to see Donovan step up when he had been the best player for so much of this game, but it's just very clear that he doesn't have his burst. And for the most part, I thought Donovan approached this game the right way. Like he wasn't trying to do too much. He kind of is understanding his limitations
I even thought he
physically.
ISO'd on Brunson defensively pretty well. I thought this was one of his better defensive games.
He was playing back-to-back games where Donovan has been playing really hard on the defensive end. I thought he is playing within himself on the offensive end. But the reality is they're probably going to need more than he might be able to provide right now on the offensive side of the floor in order to compete. The only stretch where I thought maybe he was pressing a little bit was in the third quarter, where he was trying to drive into the Knicks and turned it over a few times. Now, probably could have called fouls in a couple situations, and his name was Deuce McBride or something like that, he probably would have got it. But for the most part, like I thought Donovan approached this game the right way. But if he's not himself and the role players aren't hitting their open shots, like all you can really do is generate them. So it's a tough spot. And
But I think my gripe right now, and I don't know, this is some chicken and egg stuff that, like, I don't know what to do about it. And because, like, yeah, it's 4 years in a row the team not being able to shoot, no matter who the personnel is. But I feel like this happens a lot with this team, where the process is pretty good in the first half, but the shot making isn't there. And then
the process devolves.
And then the process devolves, and it's like, well, does the process need to devolve? Because you can't do the Rockets thing where you take 27 threes. I know that's probably not the fairest way to frame it. But like as much as we can scream, feed the bigs, feed the bigs, feed the bigs, if the Knicks, seeing that the shot making is just falling off a cliff, know
they
that
are going to cheat
they're
and take
going to
away
start
the bigs.
cheating, and the bigs. If the bigs are the only thing that's hurting them, like, like how many times, like, think about what Brunson's fourth quarter did to our defensive scheme. It broke it.
Yep.
And like, we kind of need our perimeter players or our ball handlers to break the Knicks scheme if we want a chance in the series, and like James going 6 of 15 from the field, like Don going 8 of 18, another 2 of 7 3-point shooting night. He just has not been able to shoot really in any of the past 4 postseasons from distance. I just don't see where the like, oh crap, pressure points are coming from this Cavs offense right now. And it's like, I feel like this series so far has kind of been our worst combination of nightmares, where it's like, okay, the overhelp collapse defense that served us against Detroit because Asar Thompson was in the corner. Well, now it's Josh Hart, who isn't a good shooter, but he's not Asar Thompson.
No.
But the offense not being able to consistently make the strong side defense pay is still there because I really do think that the series changed when the Knicks stopped putting 2 on the ball for no reason.
Yeah, 100%.
And like, I just, it doesn't feel right now that the Cavs have the shot making talent to hang.
I think they have the shot making talent.
Well, they're not converting it right now.
Right.
And they haven't really converted it all postseason, is what scares me. They've had games where it looks really, really, really good, but there hasn't been. They haven't
on the road. They haven't on the road to be more specific.
That's
right?
fair.
And
but like, like, I just want. There's just been if you're kind of looking at the NBA playoffs and like as a rhythmic thing, there's been no consistent drumbeat for the Cavs offensively where you go, that's what they can go to in a pinch when teams are doing a good job defensively, and like, I do think that's their biggest problem, as Ben Cox always says, they lose because of their offense. And 104 points in OT.
I like how you've taken him quoting us and how attributed it strictly to Ben.
Well, that's what he says. I just like the simplicity of it. 104 points in 53 minutes in game 1, 93 points in 48 in game 2, and it's like, yeah, of course you're going to be down 0-2 in the modern league with your offense falling apart like that.
Yeah, and the tricky thing with offense is sometimes you just need someone to get hot and it lifts the team and it snowballs from there and you gain some momentum. So maybe they just need one of their shooters to get going, and that's going to get them on track and give them that helping hand. The type of helping hand that we're accustomed to with Zoom Workplace, because teams move fastest when everyone's in sync. Zoom Workplace keeps meetings, chats, documents, and more together so your workflow is like a perfect play. Keep work moving and zoom ahead with Zoom Workplace. One of the helping hands for the Cavs on the offensive end was Evan Mobley, who was just absolutely spectacular in the first half. And, I think it gets back to your point about the chicken and the egg, right? Because Mobley was incredibly involved.
Did he score all 14 of his points in the first half? Did he get a shot up in the second half?
He did not attempt a field goal in the second half. And that's what I was getting to, right? Like, it can be fair to say, chicken and the egg, the Cavs aren't hitting the shots, so the Knicks are taking away the interior and they're making it a little harder to get the ball to Evan Mobley. But there was also times where Evan Mobley was switched and had deep post position on Jalen Brunson, and we didn't get him the ball. There were plenty of times where Evan was looking to be aggressive on the offensive end and wasn't getting rewarded with those touches. And he doesn't need to... Like, in the game like this, where you are struggling to this extent offensively, particularly when you have another one of these kind of catastrophic runs that you give up, which, if you take out the like 20-0 and 18-2 runs this is actually a very competitive
Other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln?
Exactly, right? Like, if you just take out those massive runs for the Knicks, like, the Cavs are playing really well. It's just, like, when you're in one of those runs, I would just like to see get the ball to Evan, try to allow him to make something happen. I think he can win an individual matchup with Karl Anthony Towns and generate a shot, or at least get to the free throw line. Lord knows he's one of the most foul prone players on the planet, even with the Knicks getting a home whistle, right? Like we saw it in this game that he blew by Cat. We saw him blow by Mitchell Robinson, right? Like I would just like to see, for a guy that probably has been their best player these playoffs, when
Yeah, it's not like he got a bunch of ops and turned the ball over and it just didn't play. Like, he only had one turnover in the game.
yeah, like
By the way, the fact that
again,
we scored 93 points when we got 32 free throw attempts and only had 8 turnovers, Justin.
mhm.
Oh,
It's brutal, but like
less
it
than
just
10
gets
turnovers has been an instant, like, I couldn't even perceive not winning a game with less than
right.
10 turnovers.
But what we said after the Harden trade, right? And I think we're on the same page that with the state Darius was in, like, yeah, I don't think you get out of the first round without James. I think James has been a valuable contributor for them. We know, like, but what we said bringing him in is now you're not, like, you've removed a variable from the equation. One of the issues has been the availability at the point guard. James is going to be available. He
And he
has
has
been
been.
available. The other thing that we said is the bigs will at least consistently be fed, and we will be able to evaluate, okay, are they able to rise to the moment? Are they able to contribute the way that they need to if they're consistently getting the ball? That half hasn't come to fruition. We've seen it in clutch games. We have seen it now twice in this series where down the stretch, things are going sideways and the bigs aren't really getting touches. Or if Evan does get a touch, it's a kick out to him for a 3-point attempt. I just want to see more consistent involvement here. And even if
I
it
would
is,
say,
even if it is he getting him the ball when he doesn't really have an advantage and he struggles in that situation and the handle isn't good enough and he isn't able to score and he turns it over or he misses a shot, I'd rather see that than not involving him and not finding out, because we need to be fact finding here. As much as we're trying to compete and make the NBA finals, we need to do some fact finding along the way.
well, especially when the thing you're doing isn't working very well.
Yeah.
This offense has been about as hot and cold as I've ever seen a Cavs playoff offense be. And when it's cold, it's really, really cold, and it tends to have one kind of unifying factor. Now, again, going back to the chicken or egg thing, is it harder to get Evan the ball when the Knicks are packing 4 guys in the paint and loading up the strong side every time because they don't respect the Cavs shooters until they make them? It's a factor. I would even say, if I'm the Cavs coaching staff and I've got a nice quick plane ride home from New York, and probably a couple long nights ahead of me, or a long night ahead of me tonight and tomorrow night. I'm also trying to figure out, how do I get Evan involved on the defensive end of the floor again? Because when the Knicks have gone full pace in space,
yeah,
they have taken the Cavs bigs out of the game. They just have. There is so much action that's happening where Evan is on the opposite side of the floor, and is it a 2-1-2 zone? Is it something weird and junky just to say, hey, I don't care what you guys decide to do, Evan is going to be near the guy who's got the ball as he shoots? Because
I was going to say, doesn't this get back to, let's not put Evan on the weakest offensive option so he's able to provide help, and let's get him involved in the primary assignment on the defensive end, like not guarding Jalen Brunson, but
honestly, why not?
Who
at
is
this
Jalen
point?
running a 2-man game with, right? Like, who is Jalen running a 2-man game with? And we have Dean on Jalen, we have Evan on whoever they're going to. If they change things up now they're involving Josh Hart as a screener, okay, let's bring Evan in and help out in different ways. But I think it gets back to no longer putting him in a roam position. This defense isn't good enough to put Evan in a roam position. The Toronto Raptors can do that, particularly when Quickly and Ingram, their weakest perimeter defenders are out, they were able to do that because they could go Shed, Walter, like Mamu, not Mamu, but they had plenty of guys out there that were good defensively, that were going to do their part. So Scotty could go out there and roam. We do not have that luxury. We need to use Dean Wade on Jalen Brunson because he's doing a very good job on Jalen Brunson when he's on there. And we need to use Evan to take Cat out of the games and blow up their actions. We do not have the luxury of using him as a roamer. Jared Allen can be out there as a roamer, and that would go back to using both bigs and having them out there more. We just might have to crank up the minutes there and accept that we're going to have to win with those guys contributing on the defensive end. Because I think, again, when we're going to the single big configurations, it's not working out.
Jared at 29 minutes, I don't think can happen in this series.
I agree. I think you need to hammer that. I think you need to go down swinging with that. It is the only reliable option that I can even think of.
Yeah. I mean, you really see, Mike Brown basically played 5.5 guys. Some Shamet minutes here and there, some Deuce here and there. But like a lot of it was like, and at the first sign of trouble every time, he was like, starters, get out there.
Yep.
And like, I just think like, and then you just look at the plus minuses and it's plus 22, 18, 18, 20, and 18 for the Knicks starters. That's where they won the game.
Yep.
Their best punch was better than anything the Cavs were doing, and anything other than the Cavs' best punch could not hang.
Yeah. Like, you look at it on the night when Evan and Jared were out there, it was a 117 defensive rating. And I'm going off of the pivot fade. I don't know what the NBA.com ones are. They're not available yet. When Evan was out there on his own, 112 defensive rating. So it hung pretty damn well overall. But you look overall for the game, and the Cavs basically were giving up 125, 126 offensive rating to the Knicks, right? Like, that goes to show you that, the single big and particularly the Jared only lineups were not working. And I think some of that had to do with Jared being out there for those 3 guard minutes, right, where they're not going with size. And I was happy to see Jalen Tyson get in. I think he brought them something. I think he brings them some size. He brings them some physicality. The Cavs need to go size and physicality.
Led the team in plus minus among the non-bench mob with 0.
Hell yeah, Jalen. Like, I think the Cavs need to go size and physicality because right now, what's the only thing that's worked so far for the Cavs? It's been getting second possessions, offensive rebounds, like getting inside and getting to the free throw line, that sort of thing. Like, they've been winning that physicality battle on the interior. Like, Jared Allen had as many offensive rebounds as the Knicks in this game. He had more than the Knicks through 3 quarters last game, right? Like, these guys are doing their part. They're doing the dirty work. They're doing the hustle plays. We need to maximize. We need to double down on what we're doing well. And to me, again, that goes back to consistently feeding the bigs, playing inside, outside, and trying to maintain as much size as possible. To me, that means Jalen Tyson, that means Max Strus, that means Dean Wade are all playing serious minutes, and you give serious thought to how much are you netting out in a positive direction by playing Dennis out there.
Yeah, I agree. So Dennis, yeah, I don't know, man. This is, good teams pose hard problems, and this is a good Knicks team, but I don't
Very
think
good Knicks team, yeah.
But I think this Cavs team should be able to be coming up with more answers offensively than they are right now.
I agree.
And I think that's where I'm the most disappointed. But again, defensively, we can point to 109 being good enough. But
it could have been better.
It just needs to. Well, I would say it needs to be better because the Knicks are getting comfortable shots every possession down the floor when they need them. And that is a worse bellwether than any defensive rating numbers or shot quality metrics will show, is the comfort with which the Knicks are playing offense and the discomfort with which they are forcing the Cavs to play their offense. So it's a long series. I personally do not subscribe to they just did their job, now we got to do ours. Like, it's worse. It's worse to be down 0-2 in a series than to be up 2 in a series. It really
because, like, as a road team, It's your job to go out there and steal one on the road. And it goes back to they had a prime opportunity to do so in game one.
And they blew it.
Yeah,
As
they
Donnie,
blew it.
as Donnie mentioned.
And their margin for error is considerably slighter as a result of that, right? They can go out and they can play a fantastic game at home, and the Knicks can still win because the Knicks are a really, really damn good team. They're a team that's worthy of respect. They're a team that's able to get it done on both ends of the floor. So you don't have the room to allow that to happen, right? If you lose game three, it's likely a wrap because no team has ever come back from that. And if you win game three but lose game four, again, we know how difficult it is to come back in that type of a situation. So they need to do their part, but they have not allowed themselves to have much margin for error. Now they've performed well in this spot throughout the playoffs, so we'll see how they respond to it. But again, just the inability for the offense to maintain consistency, the health of Donovan Mitchell and James Harden's ability to make up for a diminished Donovan Mitchell, if that's what it's going to be. Hopefully a day off does him some good. I think those are all major questions.
Yep. It's been a quite the sprint, man, but let's hope we get some good energy in Cleveland in game three.
Yeah, all it takes is one game to turn things around, right? Like, you got to remember, the Knicks are now riding the longest playoff winning streak in franchise history. We saw how good Detroit was playing as part of their winning streak and what a role they were on. But when the Cavs got one, it changed the complexion of the series. It took them a couple of games to bounce back from that, right? We even see that in the regular season, right? When the streak ends, there's always a little bit of a letdown. There's always a little bit of a hangover. So you come out and you shoot well and you do your part in game three, you have the opportunity to breathe new life in this series. And that's something we know the Cavs are capable of doing. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. We thank you so much, guys, for tuning in on YouTube. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Click that notification bell so you know when we're going live. If you're listening via podcast and you want to support us, leave us a rating, leave a review, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, and help cook those books. If you want to be part of Chase Down's exclusive Discord chat, send a screenshot or review to chasedownpod@gmail.com. However you choose to support us, we really do appreciate it. Make sure you guys are staying safe out there. Until next time, go Cavs.